What is up, guys? Welcome back to CageChat MMA. We're here to preview, of course, UFC Vegas 48, where Johnny Walker will be taking on Jamahal Hill. Of course, this card, sorry, is meant to be headlined by Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev, of course, which would have been a fantastic matchup. Fiziev is an electric, eccentric performer in the cage, of course, you've got on the other side, Rafael dos Anjos, a legend of the sport, former champion, future Hall of Famer, no doubt. And both of these two are one gunning for glory once again, and the other one as a new age of this sport, a new age of this era. Now, unfortunately, that fight got pushed back to 272, which makes that card, obviously headlined by Covington and Masvidal, absolutely outrageous. But for tonight's card, it's taking that cherry from the top of the cake. We've still got some icing on there with Johnny Walker and Jamahal Hill, and those are both fantastic, exciting fighters to watch. But unfortunately, the rest of the card has sort of crumbled beneath it. The batter has gone dry. We've lost the moisture to the cake, so to speak, with some of the fights that have dropped out. But all in all, for the European audience at least, thank God it's a earlier start for us guys. Card kicking off at 9 p.m. prelims at least, and then the main card at midnight. So it's going to be an earlier night than what we had last week with 271, of course. But after 271, and we see it a lot with the pay-per-views, especially since the pandemic and the COVID era, of course, the cards either side are quite lackluster because those fights that probably would have had a headline or a main card fight has been pushed onto the prelims or the early prelims of the pay-per-views to stack them up and generate the sales, of course. And with the audience numbers, you can have a lot more people attending the Toyota centers, the MGMs, etc., T-Mobile arenas, of course, and MSGs. So it makes sense for the UFC as a business to stack those pay-per-views, and then either side of that have a more lackluster card, which is generally in part of the package if it's an ESPN Plus, or sometimes they're even free on ESPN. But let's have a look at this main event. Of course, Johnny Walker and Jamahal Hill, both fantastic fighters, very excited to watch on their day. Both have been considered title challengers and probably do have title sort of contenders / champion traits about them. Now, Johnny Walker has got a lot of fans. He has got quite an exciting style, an exciting brand as well. And of course, he's made home at SBG Island now after traveling around gyms, not really feeling the vibe there now. He's 29 years of age. He needs to kick on now to come into those top 6, those top 7 fighters. At the moment, he seems to be swimming around those top 10 rankings, as is Jamahal Hill, of course. But both of these ones need to start off 2022 in quite ecstatic fashion and push on to break maybe that top 5 by the end of the year. So I think both of them are capable of doing so. It's just stringing towards performances and wins. Something that's been lackluster in Johnny Walker this past 2-3 years, really. Up until that knockout against Misha Cirkunov, he's gone 1-3. He got knocked out viciously by Corey Anderson. That was a fight where the winner could have probably gone on and faced John Jones, especially Johnny Walker with the star power and the sort of eyeballs he was bringing to him. He was something new, something fresh in that light heavyweight division. But then he tripped over against Corey Anderson, lost to Nikita Krylov, beat Ryan Spann, although he did get knocked quite heavy against Ryan Spann. It could have gone either way, that one, but Johnny Walker came out on top. And then he lost a very lackluster, poor, boring decision to Thiago Santos. Neither of those really came out and pushed each other. They sort of were happy to go through the motions of a 5-round fight, and of course Thiago Santos picked up the win via the judges' scorecards, probably rightly so. So Johnny Walker needs to come out and remind us why we fell in love with watching Johnny Walker in the first place. The fun antics, the almost freedom of being inside the octagon rather than being a fighter who's turning up for work. It's almost like he's been turning up for work rather than turning up to compete recently. And maybe that's been embedded in period at SBG. Maybe that's been learning a new sort of style of training, etc. at SBG, and maybe that's going to start coming out this year, and we're starting to see that in his performances this year, maybe. But Jamahal Hill, of course, 9-1. His first loss coming in the middle of last year against Paul Craig, of course, where Paul Craig viciously dislocated his elbow, I believe it was, with the arm triangle. It was absolutely vicious. But he came back and knocked out Jimmy Crute in the first round with a vicious knockout. He's got a win over OSP, of course. Cleveland Abreu was a no contest, of course. But since he's made his move over to UFC back in 2019. He's looked fantastic. And this one's a real close fight. Both, again, as I mentioned, whoever wins tonight will end up probably in the top 5, top 6 come towards the end of the year. You know, you're probably looking at Anthony Smith with a win tonight, someone of that caliber. Maybe the winner of Nikita Krylov or Paul Craig that's happened at UFC London. But to look at the rankings, of course, you've got Vlada Teixeira probably and most likely taking on Yuri Prohaska. You've got Blachowicz facing Rakic at some point. So really, if you win here, you're looking at an Ozdemir Reyes, probably Thiago Santos. So Thiago Santos is fighting Ankalaev, I believe, very soon. So yes, again, you've got 10 and 12 headline on the card. It is what it is. It happens in the sport, and they are fantastic to watch. They do have the capability to make a highlight reel. It's just whether we can blow out the cobwebs of that Thiago Santos performance for Johnny Walker or not, and see what we get tonight. But let's have a look at Taylor tape. 18 and 6 against 9 and 1. 6-6 versus 6-4. Both of them came in at 205 on that championship weight limit. The advantage is, of course, 3 inches for Johnny Walker in the reach, and of course an inch leg reach advantage also for him. So it's an interesting fight. I think this is a 50-50 bout in my opinion. I think Johnny Walker probably hits a little bit hard. He probably brings a little bit more to the table than Jamahal Hill does, with all due respect to Hill. I think Hill's got a lot to, he's still only 10 fights into his career, so he's still got a lot to do. He's 30 years of age. Both of these are coming into their prime in the next year or two. And, I think the premise of this fight is one of them needs to kick on. It's just going to be who. And I think it is going to be Johnny Walker. He's been in this position a little bit more frequently than Jamahal in terms of headlining the card, in terms of going 5 rounds. Of course, this was scheduled for 3 rounds previously up until last week. So how has their camps gone? Johnny Walker came out and said on the MMA hour, I believe it was, he doesn't care if it's 3 or 5 rounds. He trains for 5 rounds anyway. What's Jamahal Hill's training been like? Has he been training for a 5-round fight? How's his game plan going to, change from having a 15-minute window to a 25-minute window? Because that can be very vastly different. If he gets out in the 3rd round, it's not going to be a good night for him in the championship round to sit. So it's an interesting one. And I do think Johnny Walker's got the experience and the know-how to get it done tonight. I think he gets it done within 3 rounds, to be honest. But I could equally see Jamahal Hill coming out and knocking him out. And, sweet dreams by name, sweet dreams by nature, maybe from Hill for Johnny Walker. I am backing Walker tonight. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think he's just got a little bit too much, but again, it's a close fight. And I think he's got to get on there and call out Paul Craig or Nikita Krylov or Ozdemir, someone of that nature. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head right now who's free at the moment. But a couple of those in that rankings and those 8 up towards 6-5. He needs to start getting on their case really for a fight with a win tonight. That moves on nicely to the co-main event, of course. The co-main event, of course, Jamie Pickett versus Cal Daukaus, the brother of Chris Daukaus, who's fighting Curtis Blades in a couple of weeks, I believe March 26th after UFC London. Depending on what happens with UFC London with the O2 Arena over the Storms. But yes, you've got Cal Daukaus now facing Jamie Pickett. It was meant to be originally Julian Marquez. Fantastic co-main event. It's a 195 catchweight bout with the late notice replacement. Both of them, exciting fighters. Both can bring a knockout and a highlight reel here and there. Parker Porter versus Alan Baldo. I'm going with an Alan Baldo win here, of course. 8-2 against 12-6. Jim Miller, it keeps on going. You expect him to be done, but he comes back for one more. He's fighting Nicholas Motta, 12-3 up against 33-60. What an outrageous record that is, of course. He's making his 50th appearance tonight. We did see last weekend Roxanne Modafferi make her 50th pro fight. Maybe, get into that magic number. It might be something where Jim says, I've done it now. Let's call it a day maybe, but I doubt that the way he puts a performance inside the cage. He absolutely loves it, don't he? You got Jacqueline Buckley versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. This fight for me is the fight to watch. Both of these have incredible knockout power. Buckley, of course, being on the end of it, but winning a knockout of the year contender, or he was a knockout of the year against Simpa Kasangane back in October in 2020 with that spinning back kick. Since then, he's 2-1, a win over Jordan Wright and Antonio Arroyo. Both knockouts, but he did get head kicked by Eliseo De Chirico back in January of last year. So he's going to start off this year better than he started last year, of course. And I think he's got a possibility of doing that against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Again, Al Hassan 11-4. He did knock out Alessio Deshoka by a head kick back in August in 2021. But prior to that, he was on a 3-fight skid against Manil Aziz, Chaos Williams, and Jacob Malcolm. Both of them, all three of them good fighters. But before that, he finished Nico Price. This is a good win on his record. But if you remember that Chaos Williams fight, the fight that Chaos Williams just absolutely stared him down, and it almost like watching a predator go for prey in that walkout. I still have quite the memories on there. I'm sure Razak Al Hassan had memories and dreams of that, nightmares probably a few weeks after that fight happened. But I do think this one's going to be, whoever wins this gets a performance of the night bonus. If not, both of them get a fight of the night bonus. I can't see it go 3 rounds. I'm sure say again a round and a half, maybe 2 rounds. But I don't know who's going to win. So I've gone with Buckley on my picks. So yeah, I do think just edging it towards Jackman Buckley. But this is going to be a fantastic fight. In that middleweight division, you've got Gabriel Benitez up against David Onama. Jessica Rose Clark returning against Stephanie Ago. You've got Chaz Skelly, against Mark Striegel. Deanne Bell-Beta against Gloria De Paula. Gloria De Paula coming down saying this is a contender series moment. She's 0-2 in the UFC proper. This is all or nothing for her. So that's going to be an interesting fight, and how she comes away from that and walks into cage. Is going to be pressure a little bit too much. Is she going to either exert herself and get herself compromised almost, or is she going to come away with her first UFC win? But just a Strada versus Chad Angelia, Jonathan Pierce versus Christian Rodriguez, and opening the card is Mara Batista versus Jay Perrin. Of course, Mara Batista was meant to fight Khalid Taha in the opening fight. This card did get, again, as we mentioned, a little bit ripped to shreds. Kyle Daukaus against Julian Marquez. Marquez withdrew. Khalid Taha withdrew from his fight. You had Nasrat Haqparast versus John McDessie. Obviously, McDessie withdrew, and Haqparast fought last week on UFC 271. Alexander Romanov versus Ilia Latifi. Romanov withdrew from that one. And of course, RDA versus got put back to UFC 272. So yes, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Make sure to put your predictions down in the comments down below. Again, Johnny Walker or Jamahal Hill. How big of a sort of important fight is this to the light heavyweight landscape? And each of these two careers, both of them needing a win tonight. And I think that could give us some good action. We've of course got Khan versus Brook in the boxing tonight. We've got, of course, Bellator 274 taking place also this evening. So a busy night of fights all in all. But make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you comment and like the video. Make sure to follow us on social medias at CageChat MMA across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So go follow all those. And I'll see you guys on the next video.